Genesis 10. These are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Japheth: Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. The sons of Gomer: Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. The sons of Javan: Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. From these the coastland peoples spread in their lands, each with his own language, by their clans, in their nations. The sons of Ham: Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. The sons of Cush: Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Rama, and Sabtiga. The sons of Rama: Sheba and Dedan. Cush fathered Nimrod. He was the first on earth to be a mighty man. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. The beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar. From that land he went into Assyria, and built Nineveh, Rehoboth-ir, Calah, and Resen between Nineveh and Calah. That is the great city. Egypt fathered Ludim, Anamim, Lehabim, Naphtuhim, Pathrusim, Casluhim, from whom the Philistines came, and Caphtorim. Canaan fathered Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusites, the Amorites, the Girgashites, the Hivites, the Arkites, the Sinites, the Arvadites, the Zamorites, and the Hamathites. Afterward the clans of the Canaanites dispersed, and the territory of the Canaanites extended from Sidon in the direction of Gerar as far as Gaza, and in the direction of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim, as far as Lasha. These are the sons of Ham, by their clans, their languages, their lands, and nations. To Shem also, the father of all the children of Eber, the elder brother of Japheth, children were born. The sons of Shem: Elam, Asher, Arpachshad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram: Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Arpachshad fathered Shelah, and Shelah fathered Eber. To Eber was born 2 sons. The name of the one was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. Joktan fathered Almodad, Sheleph, Hazarmaveth, Jerah, Hadoram, Uzal, Diklah, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the sons of Joktan. The territory in which they lived extended from Mesha in the direction of Sephar, the hill country of the east. These are the sons of Shem, by their clans, their languages, their lands, and their nations. These are the clans of the sons of Noah, according to their genealogies, in their nations, and from these the nations spread abroad on the earth after the flood. The word of the Lord. I like the statement regarding Peleg. It's very interesting. In his days, the earth was divided. That could be just a political, national statement, which would make sense given the context of what they're talking about throughout this chapter and the next. But is there also some kind of geological claim being made there? Hard to say. Not knowing the Hebrew myself, or Greek, as the case may be. Chapter 11. The Tower of Babel. Now the whole earth had one language, and the same words. And as people migrated from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and settled there. And they said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks, and burn them thoroughly." And they had brick for stone, and bitumen for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city, and a tower with its top in the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be dispersed over the face of the whole earth." And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of man had built. And the Lord said, "Behold, they are one people, and they have all one language. And this is only the beginning of what they will do. And nothing that they propose to do will now be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and there confuse their language, so that they may not understand one another's speech." So the Lord dispersed them from there over the face of all the earth, and they left off building the city. Therefore its name was called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of all the earth. And from there the Lord dispersed them over the face of all the earth. These are the generations of Shem. When Shem was 100 years old, he fathered Arpachshad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after he fathered Arpachshad 500 years, and had other sons and daughters. When Arpachshad had lived 35 years, he fathered Shelah. And Arpachshad lived after he fathered Shelah 403 years, and had other sons and daughters. When Shelah had lived 30 years, he fathered Eber. And Shelah lived after he fathered Eber 403 years, and had other sons and daughters. When Eber had lived 34 years, he fathered Peleg. And Eber lived after he fathered Peleg 430 years, and had other sons and daughters. When Peleg had lived 30 years, he fathered Reu. And Peleg lived after he fathered Reu 209 years, and had other sons and daughters. When Reu had lived 32 years, he fathered Serug. And Reu lived after he fathered Serug 207 years, and had other sons and daughters. When Serug had lived 30 years, he fathered Nahor. And Serug lived after he fathered Nahor 200 years, and had other sons and daughters. When Nahor had lived 29 years, he fathered Terah. And Nahor lived after he fathered Terah 119 years, and had other sons and daughters. And when Terah had lived 70 years, he fathered Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah fathered Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran fathered Lot. Haran died in the presence of his father Terah, in the land of his kindred, in Ur of the Chaldeans. And Abram and Nahor took wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife, Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and Iscah. Now Sarai was barren. She had no child. Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran, his grandson, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife, and they went forth together from Ur of the Chaldeans to go into the land of Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they settled there. The days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. The word of the Lord. Another genealogical chapter that has a lot more in it than you might think. Obviously, the story of the Tower of Babel is the most striking. Just a few lines that have enormous implications for how we think about politics, how we think about international relations. The Bible describes the confusion of languages as a kind of curse that, or at least limitation that God places on man. Very similar to how God places a limitation on man not to be able to live forever by having access to the tree of the fruit of life, but also not allowing man to have one language, to have one city, one tower, but setting men against each other in a confusion of tongues. So, very, very key to our ethnic identities or political narratives is how do we interpret what happened here at Babel and how that relates to now the Christian faith. There's and our modern day society. There's people who will accuse modern day society of being like a bringing up new kinds of towers of Babel, whether that's AI, capitalism, technology, whatever. Um, Forces working to try and make everyone fall under one political ideology, one language, one world empire. You have the case of, in the New Testament, the Spirit comes down and gives the apostles the ability to be understood across different languages, different tongues. And that seems to be a kind of inversion of what happens here at Babel. Not erasing the different tongues, but allowing there to be a spiritual unity where there used to just be confusion. In Christian political theology, there's going to be debate about what does that look like practically when we're thinking about nations, when we're thinking about the role faith plays in politics and in relationships between different ethnic identities. We can have this ideal of unity, spiritual unity, but what does that spiritual unity consist in? Does it consist in something man-made or in something given by God? And how do we? Is it always clear what the difference is? I think that definitely there's going to be a lot of false things that men are putting out there that they've made, saying this can be the principle of unity between, all mankind, different tribes and tongues. But fake forms of spiritual unity are not going to be sufficient. They're only going to destroy or paper over the real issues at hand, versus real spiritual unity that can be had between peoples. That's going to be the gift of God, and that's going to come through the rule of Christ over the land, over people's hearts. The Bible foretells all the nations bringing in their glory to the kingdom of God, which is the kingdom of Christ. And that's something that can only happen through the proclamation of the gospel, through the reign of Christ. That's not going to be something accomplished through human technology, through a human globalism or a human ideology that tries to unite everyone in some kind of humanistic New World Order way. So we need to be very, very skeptical of, suspicious of people who are trying to build things that can unite all of humanity around something that isn't Jesus Christ. So, Babel, very important story for us to be contemplating. We also see here the introduction of Abraham. Essentially, he's one of the Chaldeans. He's from Ur. And Ur is a very, very interesting city. If you look it up on Wikipedia, some of the historical record that we have there, the people of Ur were not, as I recall, the nicest people. I do believe they practiced human sacrifice. We've got some cool ziggurats left behind by them. Some funny artwork. They wore makeup and weird little baggy dresses. I don't know what's up with that, but that was the style back then. Definitely check out the Standard of Ur and other archaeological remains from Ur. Just to get a mental picture of this is, as best as we can tell from what fragments we have, this is the kind of culture that Abram is being called out of. And then we'll see what God does with this man coming out of this bizarre Mesopotamian culture. Yeah. All right. That's all I got.